Hi, my name's William Siener, and for my backtesting strategy, I wanted to know if there was a relationship between debt to income and total returns. The specific debt to income ratio we're using today is debt to earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. While there are many debt to income ratios we could look at, the reason why we're using this one is because it's already commonly used by investors and analysts to see if companies are actually able to pay their creditors. In situations where earnings are zero or less than zero, the ratio doesn't actually give us a result. We had to omit these companies from specific years, so even though NWS wasn't used for 5 years, it's still usable for years 3 and 1. This is done simply by sorting the information from A to Z, which throws all the non-results for that year to the bottom. We're doing the regression testing from 1, 3 to 5 years to see if it'll work on a short-term basis, a medium-term basis, and a long-term basis. Moving on to year 1, our R-square is 0.000279, and our coefficient is 0.105, which means that there would be a very weak relationship if one were to exist. However, our t-stat is 0.355, which is less than the 1.65. Because of that, we can't even say that there's evidence that the relationship exists. Moving on to 3 years to see if this will work over just a little bit of a longer period of time, our R-square actually becomes significantly smaller at 4.77 times 10 to the negative 5th power. And our coefficient actually becomes negative at negative 0.0215, meaning that there's a negative relationship between the two. However, our t-stat is negative 0.14, which is less than 1.65. So unfortunately, again, we have to say that there's not enough evidence to say that there's a relationship between debt to income and total returns. Moving on to the 5th year, which is typically the longest year or longest time frame you want to look at, our R-squared becomes 0.00575, and our coefficient is negative 0.23145. Our t-stat does go up to negative 1.606. However, that's still less than the 1.65 that we're looking for, so we again have to say that there's not enough evidence to say the relationship exists. While typically debt to income is a good ratio for analysts and investors to look at when evaluating a company overall, it's hard to say. You can't really say that it's a good indicator of returns.